It seems that the ancient agricultural practice of scything is not a dead craft, despite the sharp-bladed tool's association with the Grim Reaper. Beautifully crafted scythes are among gardening implements packed away in a rustic setting on the Coromandel Peninsula. That's where producer Sally Round is taking us to meet Beth Pearsall, who might be one of the most remote shopkeepers in the country.
This is a good steep hill to go up every day.
Yeah, keep me fit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I live here on this piece of land, and I grew up here actually, and I've been back about 8 years, and it's just a beautiful area in the northern Coromandel, close to the beach, lots of bush, lots of nice bush walks to go on, great community of people, lots of artists.
Beth Pearsall lives tucked away on a hillside covered in regenerating bush as part of an off-grid eco-village north of the little settlement of Colville.
And you spend time in Colville itself?
Yep.
What's your job there?
I work there on a restoration project, so replanting around rivers and wetlands and fencing. But I try and spend as much time as possible here.
And you have a side hustle?
I do have a side hustle.
And that's what we're going to go and find out about now.
Yeah.
Coming up off a little branch of the track, and we're coming to your place.
We're coming to my place, yeah. So I'm building this place myself with my own hands.
Wow, and there it is.
So it's an earth building, and the downstairs is going to be the new garden tool store because I've run out of room in the little spare room in my parents' house because it's grown. So I'm in the process of building a new space.
And that is the side hustle.
That is the side hustle. Yeah.
The garden tools are what you sell online from this beautiful spot in remote northern Coromandel.
Yeah.
They're pretty special tools as well. We'll talk about them in a sec. But
Cool.
Do you want to show me around the house?
Sure. So, just watch your feet because there's ramps and it's very much a construction site here. So it's a light earth construction, so it's actually made of sawdust from the local mill and the clay just from the hill behind here. So I've tried to use really local materials. It's a beautiful space to live and work in, and I'm just working on the floor at the moment. That's the next step.
It's been a 5-year building project so far, in between her job and the garden tools business, selling handheld traditional implements used on small farms and gardens over hundreds of years. Skills in using them would have been passed down from generation to generation in the past, and may have been lost once power tools and mowers came along. So she's also upskilling a new generation.
Teaching people how to use them, how to maintain them, how to make them last forever. And so running workshops is kind of one of the things I've been doing. So we did a workshop on earth building, and so some people came and they designed this beautiful bottle sun in waves.
So the bottles are laid out in a circle on the wall, so you get the light shining through as if like rays of a sun.
Yeah. And
fantastic.
This is my wild abandoned garden because I've been so busy building. And I've got an orchard in the back there, which you can barely see.
We'll come back to the garden later, but we need to find out more about these special tools, which all started with Beth's parents, Joanna and Bryan.
My great-grandmother's bell. Hello.
Hello.
Joanna and Bryan are some of the original inhabitants of the eco-village. Joanna arrived in 1980. There's evidence of their gardening prowess in the jars and jars of preserves on the shelves lining the walls, and freshly harvested fruit on the table. They sourced the tools from around the world.
We were teaching permaculture design. Part of that is about reducing consumption, especially carbon consumption. So rather than mowing, we decided we should import scythes and teach people scything. We did at least 2 tours of New Zealand with the scythes. People were really interested. Anyway, then we said, well, people want scythes, what else is there? And specifically we said, well, what else is there from Austria? And then we found the bronze tools that were inspired by a mix of Victor Schauberger and Rudolf Steiner. PKS is the name of the company, which means Pythagoras, Kepler and something else. I'm not sure what the S is.
So you started importing these tools?
Yeah.
And what's the basis for the tools that you select?
Well, they need to work well, they need to be well designed, and they need to last a long time. And a lot of indigenous tools are like that. So we got tools from Japan and from Korea and from Switzerland.
And all based here in the middle of the bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say we're not a remote area, we're the centre of the universe and everything comes to us, so it's not a problem.
Even me, I've come to you. Yeah. Were you using these tools as well yourself?
Oh, yes, because we needed to know how they worked and actually that's not necessarily obvious when you receive a tool that's a traditional tool in another country but is not used here at all. And it's quite amazing how really good it is to get a tool suited to a purpose.
That's Beth back in the orchard, sharpening the blade of a scythe, a handheld tool for mowing long grass and weeds, with a long curving blade you might have seen in old pictures of hay harvesting. These have been made by the same European company since the mid-1500s.
And they still make them in the same place, and they're the last scythe blade producer in Austria. What I love about it is that it's a very meditative process, scything. I find it very relaxing, sort of like doing Tai Chi or something. And you can go out in the morning, and it works best when the grass is a bit damp. And so you can go out in the morning and it's quiet, all you have is the swishing of the blade, and there's none of this kind of of a weed eater and that vibration. And so for people who are working a lot, cutting a lot of grass between orchards or clearing space, if you can avoid having all of that vibration in your body and all that sound and all that burning of unnecessary fossil fuel.
Who's buying them?
I think it's a variation of people. So I would say probably mostly people living rurally, judging by the addresses that I send them to. So people, I think, with areas of land that they're wanting to, sometimes that they're wanting to clear of blackberry, brackens, things like that. I had people contact me after the cyclone because their lands in the East Cape, had silt go all over them and all these weeds had sprung up and they needed a way to cut through it. And so a scythe was actually the perfect tool for that job. So I'd say, mostly people who've got a bit more space, because it's better when you've got a little bit more room because of the action of it. It's not so good if you've just got lots of little narrow spaces.
Beth's taken over the garden tool store from her parents and is building up a community of fellow traditional tool lovers through her workshops.
Now you are also teaching people to scythe. It's a skill, isn't it?
It is a skill. And I think it's, once you get the practice of it, it sort of feels really easy. But sometimes in the learning, it can be a bit awkward or something while you're learning the movement. But once you get it, it's easy.
And that's all done online with video?
Yeah, maybe I'll go on a scything tour again one day. But at the moment I'm working, just getting it online so that people can see and the benefit of them and how to put them together and what the different options are and the different types of blades and the maintenance of them and the sharpening, and because that's one thing I'm really interested in is the quality. You buy good quality things that will last forever, but you do have to maintain them, like a car. If you don't change your tyres or change the oil or, it blows up or doesn't work anymore, and really good quality tools are like that.
Back in the office, Beth shows me some of the tools traditionally used in various Asian countries.
It looks a bit like a weapon, but this is a Korean sickle. And so this is like it's sort of a forestry tool, so they would use it for hedging, clearing tracks, harvesting rice. So it's a very sturdy, heavy steel blade with a really beautiful wooden handle. These are handmade.
And the blade it's almost perpendicular to the handle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of like a hook. It's sort of like a sickle, but not as closed. Yeah, great for paspalum and kind of thicker grasses. I use it for track clearing in the bush. Probably my biggest seller is this one. It's called an oscillating hoe. So this bolts onto here. So that was another thing that we really wanted to support, is people being able to grow food at scale without industrial machinery. So this is a small version, but they get bigger, and even have one that goes on a wheel hoe, so you can wheel it along. So it's not only, it's still a hand tool, but it's not so much your arm action. And so the idea is that this cuts the weeds off under the surface of the soil, and it's got this rocking action so that it works backwards and forwards, and it's sharp on both sides. And this is my biggest seller. I sell a lot of these. Selling really high quality gardening tools that you never have to replace is not a great business model. I just want people to have quality, know how to use them, know how to look after them so that they can pass them on to their kids, And also, when you use a really nice tool, it makes the whole experience of gardening so much more pleasant. It just feels better. I'm excited to go and get my beautiful bronze trowel and do my transplanting. It's such a pleasure to use if something is beautiful and functional and lasts a long time and does the job really well. Yeah, wow. They're just really...
That is almost like gold, isn't it?
It is like gold, yeah.
It's a trowel with a beautiful gold glint to it.
Yeah, so it's bronze. Like the Bronze Age, they still find Bronze Age tools that defined a whole epoch of humanity because it lasts forever. These are really heirlooms,
As you might have guessed, they don't come cheap. But then, when you're scything, you won't have to pay for petrol to weed eat, and you'll get a workout as well.
So this is your other piece of equipment with the scything. So it's a whetstone.
And you carry that on your belt?
Yeah, you just have it just hooks on there. And it's basically for keeping the blade, so you... Just for keeping it really bright. So
how often do you have to do that as you're going?
You'll kind of feel when it stops cutting as cleanly. Yeah. So it depends on what you're cutting.
Beth, people associate scythe slightly with death, don't they? The Grim Reaper and all that.
They do, and I haven't investigated the mythology of that yet, but maybe it is something to do with, as death comes, it's the time to look back at your life and reap the harvest of your life and all of the things around you. And yeah, maybe there's some symbology in that.
Maybe a listener out there knows the answer and can let us know. Well, it's been lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for showing me around your patch of paradise here in the Coromandel.
Thanks so much for coming.
Beth Pearsall, scything back the weeds in her garden at the top of the Coromandel Peninsula. There's a video of her in action on our website. Go to rnz.co.nz/country. And that story was produced and presented by Sally Round.